Hey, what's up? This is Mick, and you're listening to Piedmont Artist Profiles on Snow Peak Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Piedmont Artist Profiles. This is another amazing live show, which should go just as well. This weekend I have in the basement with me Mr. Shoney Lamar and Nate Faye from the Whiskey Predicament. What is going on, fellas?
Living it, loving it.
Yeah.
Well said. Looking good doing it.
I still have that beat coming through somewhere, and I don't know where it's coming from.
Play the beat.
Play the beat.
Turn it up in my headphones.
Oh, I know where it's coming from. It's coming from my telephone that's playing the YouTube stream. Anyway, all right, let's get into it. Nate, so let's see. I met you at the Bones Jam last fall.
I think that was the first time. Yeah,
we actually, party. Yeah, it was. It was an awesome party, and then we even did an interview, and I corrupted the audio. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I wish I could have stuck around longer. I had to get back home, but I heard the police showed up at some point. So
yeah,
I don't know if you were there for it.
Oh yeah,
or the cause of it.
No, I wasn't the cause. I was not the cause.
This time.
No. Well, yeah. I don't know. I guess we were too loud. It was a good show. That was so fun. There was a half pipe. There was musicians. It was a good time. They need to do that again. So Captain D, keep that in mind. So anyway, since I killed that interview, we need to get to know you a little bit more. Not just about your influences, but talk a little bit about your music and how it's been a part of your life. What music's meant to you personally.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it's utterly mystifying and amazing. You know, I think I wrote my first song when I was 12. It's called "One Less Psycho to Deal With." I think I still remember it. But I think I was always just kind of amazed that I think what music to me when it's at its best, I feel like can let your brain maybe access certain emotional frequencies that you just otherwise would not have access to. Mm-hmm. and the fact and you know that can be as much yours as the artist that's kind of bringing it out in you. But just the idea that a piece of music can make you feel something you've never felt before, can make you learn things about yourself that you wouldn't have otherwise, I think is just the real trick to it. So, mm-hmm. So on some level, I'm probably not necessarily successful, but I think I'm always trying to keep that in mind when I write songs. Your
songs seem very well. They're put together, they're assembled very raw, and the emotion in them seems very raw. So, do you have a place you come from when you write, or do you just kind of try to tell stories? Is it first person or?
Yeah, I would say both. I'm a big fan of the story song. I always like the kind of third person narration about some kind of dramatic arc. But then mm-hmm. I would say as much as that too. I think probably you use things that have informed your personal life. You know, events that you've gone through and have kind of had an emotional resonance to you. And I think I don't like to be too on the nose with, lyrically about things that have actually happened, but mm-hmm. I think you can't help but probably draw from those emotions and maybe try to convey them to whoever's listening, mm-hmm. if you can.
What about you, Shoney? Where do you find your muse? You write so much stuff.
Oh yeah, actually, he kind of hit the nail on the head. It is. I do like story songs as well. I don't write them very often. I kind of what you hit on early on. I like to sort of free associate, and I have like a notebook on me a bunch and write down anything somebody says or anything I think of. I call it sticky. You know what I mean? Like something that just kind of like you're like, oh, okay, and write it down. And then once you kind of come up with a melody, you have like a notebook to go to and kind of start from and just sort of put stuff together. I tried, like, I mean, I've got this song I just put out like a few minutes ago. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but that is concretely about something. And I used to try to do that a bit more. I don't really do that anymore. And what's really cool is when you are just putting phrases together like that. Again, like you kind of write down what's sticky, and then they start sticking to each other, and you wind up like accidentally writing songs that are about something. And like, you didn't, like, I've got a song, called Authorities, which is very, very much about this time that I went down a staircase and almost died, cracking my head open against a brick wall with nails sticking out of it. But I just kind of put those words down. And what's really crazy is I wrote that song like 3 months before the thing happened.
Wow.
So like when you're just kind of like finding words that stick together, like weird shit like that happens occasionally. Like that's happened to me more than once. You sound so corny when you're like, what does the song want or whatever, but like that's the reason that sounds like that's something everybody says, like, what does the song want, is because it's true. Like the song, the melody and whatever chords you've put together will sort of like take you somewhere, and you have to sort of open communication with the song and just let it happen. What was the question again?
I don't even remember. I think where do you follow your muse, or where do you find your muse? Kind of everywhere, it seems.
Yeah. I mean, it's everywhere, like the air, And the most important thing is to, unless you're just beginning, is to not force yourself. I think you should force yourself at the beginning. Like when you're first starting to write, but like once it takes a little while. Once you've found what you do, if you're not feeling writing, don't do it. You know what I mean? Or if you write something and you're not proud of it, you don't feel like you've pushed yourself forward or exactly saying what you want to say, like, throw it out, like, especially like if you've, or save it for parts. Tom Waits is always like, it's spare parts. And like if you listen to his B-sides and stuff, like, you'll hear a line that's on one of his albums, but it's on some totally different song. He's like, that goes in this car, instead, and like, it's, I was a writer first, like before I even started playing music, I was writing. So that's like, the words are the most important thing, because, you just kind of string A minor and C together over and over, so like the writing, I'm always writing stuff down. And then like when it comes to music, that becomes like the house that those words live in, you know what I mean? And you have to like figure out, what couch goes in what room,
Wow. It's a good metaphor, man. I need to write that down. What about you, Nate? You got books on books on books of notes for words?
Yeah. The sticky is definitely good advice. Yeah, for anyone doing it. Yeah, and I have just kind of like images that pop into my head, or just different concepts. Like I write a note down like, person succumbing to Alzheimer's kills himself, and it's like not sad, and then. And I might not use that idea. I did use that idea in a song called the Big Easy, but I wrote that sticky down years before I found a melody and chord structure that I thought was applicable to it. And yeah, like Shoney said, just like moving the couches around, you find concepts and images, I think, that tend to work with the melody and chord structures that you've created. That's true for me anyway. I've always been like a melody first kind of a guy. That's kind of what's most important in music to me. I think what I look for is just that sort of melodic X factor that just sounds sort of unique and maybe is something that has sort of its own identity and can stand on its own and is resonant in some way. And then I think the words just tend to follow that.
Right. It's amazing you brought up the song I was going to ask you about, the Big Easy, because it's
cool.
It's actually you got so many songs right now. It's the one that's stuck in my head. I've been whistling all morning. So do you have a history with New Orleans in particular, or was this a third person kind of thing? Yeah,
I wish I had more of a history with New Orleans. I've been through there probably like 2 or 3 times and just spent a couple of days there. But that's, I think, enough time to really absorb the romance of the city. It was just always a really romantic city to me, great drinking city. And I thought if I ever had some kind of debilitating, brain illness or some kind of situation like that, what would I want to do? How would I want to check out? And go to New Orleans and have a great party and maybe just end it there decisively. Be in control of it. I think there's a beauty to that, and that, that's not sad to me. So I thought there was kind of something poetic about that.
Well, I mean, there's an acceptance, right? Like that's what the song's kind of about. It's like mournful, but it's I wrote down that it's a very mournful song, but it's sweet at the same time. Like it has this
nice.
Like this. There's this underlying tone where it's like we're mourning the past, but it's not sad right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's cool. It's cool that it came across in the song like that.
Yeah, good reading of it.
Yeah. It's all by I thought it was like autobiographical. I didn't know if it was about you. You spend time in it in New Orleans because what's the line? Like you loved back when you were a kid.
Yeah. So I could see having those sort of romantic experiences in your past, and then wanting to reconnect with that in some way in the final denouement of your life. Probably more just like I've had family members that have succumbed to Alzheimer's, and that's probably more the impetus for having that idea. I've always been like very pro euthanasia, and I could see having a good sticky about that at some point too. But that was always just something that also had a resonance to me, that the idea that you are in control of your own destiny,
right?
And everything changes and nothing's permanent. So why does it have to be sad for you to make a decision and choose to go out on your own terms? When nothing is permanent.
I think it's beautiful. I'm a big fan. I mean, I'm from a state that had, doctor-assisted suicide in the 90s.
Yeah. Oregon, was that?
Yeah, I'm from Oregon.
Yeah, cool.
I've always just, makes sense to me. If you're suffering, why prolong it? And it seems like, it seems selfish to me for other people to want you to not die.
Yeah.
That's your inevitable end.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it seems like sort of a childlike morality that's just black and white and just it's too easy,
Mm-hmm. So Shoney, you've got you've been involved with so many projects. Also, the Equal Rights. You've got your hip hop album, which I always forget the name. What's the name of your hip hop artist?
Gun Money.
Gun Money.
That's a great name.
Yeah. You just put out an album a couple weeks ago. Some covers by The National. You want to talk about that?
Oh, sure. So I love this band, or I don't know. They kind of let me down with their most recent one. I feel like I got YouTube'd is how I like to put, everybody, like up until Joshua Tree.
You got Joshua Tree. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess, there's the whole thing. Some people like shut it off at Joshua Tree. I still think that's a great album. But like when Pop came out, it was like, okay, what the hell happened to that important band? So they were always important to me, and now they're, like, I hate to be they're big, and I liked them way back when, but like, I don't know, there was something a little bit, I think I really, the way that guy writes, Matt, the singer, the stuff that he writes about, like, I don't know, I feel a kindred spirit that I kind of don't feel with this newest record. I think he's a little hard on the sleeve on this new one, which he's so good at, our joke about the National, me and my friends love this band. We used to drive around just whatever, like singing. It's, you'll laugh, you'll cry. It's the National, because he's so funny, but he's also like, you will start crying, like I'm just like, this has happened often. So like, his lyrics really talk to me, and they have this great, like kind of like a big Baroque string sections and like these beautiful close-knit piano melodies and everything. And they're just one of these bands that I really like, stripping all that away and just like breaking it down to like the simple chords, like not adding the ninth and all this kind of stuff, and sort of rewriting their songs. And I disagree with some of his lyric choices, even though he's one of my favorite lyricists. So I just change his words and stuff sometimes. Just, like, I mean, I kind of try to recreate their songs in my voice, because they feel like something. By the time I'm done with it, it feels like something I could have written. I think if you're singing somebody else's song, that's kind of important that you can find your place in it.
Right.
And so this is the second one, the second EP of their songs that I've put out. And again, like I actually. It's been done for a while. It took me a while to put it out because I was so upset by that most recent album.
I could tell.
Yeah. It really, you know, it's like your friend did something really bad. You know, it's like, you know,
You live long enough to become a villain.
yeah. It's like that Sarah Silverman's like, I don't know if I can still be friends with Louis C.K. You know, maybe that's too far. But you know, like some
You have to qualify it now when you explain your interest.
Yeah,
in
they kind of yeah. I'm like, no. Before that, this band. But they're so like. Here's the thing about like, you know, writing songs about something like we were talking about. So like there's a song on that album, the new one. It's called Summer Love and Torture Party, called The Geese of Beverly Road, which is like I think probably the first one that I started playing of theirs, and it resonated with me so much because I thought this song, you know, what leads up to the chorus is you know. We'll set off the geese of Beverly Road, and then the chorus is like, you know, we'll run like we're awesome, totally genius. And he's talking about going from car to car to sleeping car and whispering in their ears. And so like I get this like image of these kids that are like bored and drunk, hopping on the train and going out to, you know, whatever lake on Beverly Road, and like where the geese are, and like whatever, just like that's what we're doing today. We're going to the lake and we're gonna like do that thing where you run through the birds and they all you know, yeah. I was like, what a brilliant thing to write a song about, you know what I mean? And then read an interview, or somebody told me later, like no, he was like totally inspired by like Beverly Road is in Brooklyn, where they at least used to live, and you know, they were like out on the porch drinking or whatever, and they were like just looking at these bored kids going down the street, like knocking into the cars to make the alarms go off. And so, you know, it's like honk, 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 and it sounds like geese to them. And they're like, so like the whole song is actually about this whole other thing. And I'm like, but when I sing it, it's still this thing that, you know, like I imagine, you know, which is I'm trying to wind this back to the whole, like, you know, not necessarily right. Ultimately, your audience is going to make your song about whatever they want. Right. You know, like, I mean, this happens to me. Somebody will be like, is this about this? And I'm like, no, but I mean, it is to you, and like that's every bit as important, if not more.
We were talking about that last night, my buddy Ade and I. That, you know, he just put his album out, and someone came up to him, talked about one of his songs, and it had a whole different meaning to that person. Yeah. But that's the beauty of music, is that you can take something that's so personal to you, and you put it out there, and people interpret it all kinds of different ways, and then they sing it back to you, and everyone's on the same page, but they're on different pages at the same time. It's really, music's so fucking powerful, man. There's just no real way around it. So I got some kind of like just little fun questions to do here. So Shoney, you're stuck on an island. What 2 albums you bring with you?
2 albums. Oh, the desert island, huh?
It could be a nice island. There's no reason for it to be a desert.
A resort.
A bountiful.
It's a sandals.
Okay, so I've got fruit and vegetables on my island. Let's go with Kinda Blue. I think that's the best jazz. I don't think anybody's gonna do jazz better than Kinda Blue. And I'll take, oh shit, only 2. All right, so I've got Kinda Blue, so we've got something nice and mellow. What's gonna make me good and angry? Actually, being on an island.
Yeah, you're already bad. You need to be calm.
Angry. Yeah, I gotta calm down. Shit, this is too hard. I'm making for bad TV here. I'll take. Let's take that Queen album. I don't know what it's called. We just got the vinyl.
The one that's right up there? There's one on the wall, I think. The silver album cover?
Night at the Opera?
No, not Night at the Opera. It's the one that starts with We Will Rock You. What's that?
News of the World? Maybe?
Yeah, News of the World.
Oh,
it's got
that's
that
an interesting choice.
Yeah, I really like Queen when you can tell they're probably under contract to be like putting out like an album a year or whatever, the way they used to do it back in the day. So they just start like really experimenting. So they're like, let's kind of do a country thing. You know, you can tell they probably just cranked that out of nowhere. I mean, you know, the opening song is just a beat, you know, with like a terrible guitar solo over the end. That's the whole song, you know.
The genius of it, though, was that it eventually found life, and I could see them pouring energy into this on purpose, like making it a song that could be like a jock jams kind of a song, played in arenas. Stadiums.
My lady was just talking about what's the follow up. We Are the Champions. So there's like this like sports thing. She was telling me, I don't know if this is true or not, but that like Freddie, each of them wrote this, like individually wrote the songs. I think the drummer wrote "We Will Rock You." But Freddie wrote "We Are the Champions" about the queer community being like, yeah, and like it's this cool like 1-2 punch, and here you go again, reading songs different ways, because that winds up being this like sports anthem or whatever. You're like, yo, you're singing about gay people, you're singing a gay anthem, like hoping the Panthers win. Or,
that makes it so much better.
Yeah. I mean, again, whether it's true or not. It's good enough for me.
Well, we'll just
like
say
to imagine it.
Yeah.
The homophobic 80s sports fan just like fist pumping in the air is just so good.
And Freddie is just like laughing,
Yeah. What about you, Nate? What 2 albums would you bring with you?
I think I've been loving Ezra Furman's Day of the Dog lately. I don't know if you're familiar with that guy, but he's actually a transgendered. I don't know if he identifies as a woman, but I think he's just sort of fluid in his gender.
Right.
And but he does this like crazy. It's punk, but it's also just like old school rock and roll. It's like
is he like the Lick the Wounds salt?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, he just came out. That's his new record.
Okay,
yeah.
I saw that on AV Club. He kind of reminded me of Springsteen a little bit, but like has this really like a modern thing to it, and like it's not Springsteen at all, like music.
You can hear that influence.
There's like a sax player and stuff.
Right. Yeah. There's lots of saxophones. They're really fun, and like they're used in kind of like a Chuck Berry sort of a way. But yeah, there's also just really soulful ballads.
I'm not expecting that voice to come out of that guy.
Exactly right.
He's got this kind of like like it's not even like that. You can't even. I can't even do an impression of that voice. It's really cool.
I've tried. It's very difficult. Yeah. But yeah, he has like this crazy nasal, just like all over the place kind of screech, but it works very well. And yeah, Day of the Dog is my favorite record by him, so I think I would go for that. And my second one, I think I would need the Neutral Milk. I think I would need the Airplane Over the Sea, just because that's just what I always go back to. I mean, when I talked earlier about just finding like striking a chord that just sort of inspires kind of like an emotional identification with something that just some kind of mysterious sense that you've always and never known. I feel like that's
him, yeah.
That's the group that just like really brings it out in me the most, I think, and brings the most to the table in that sense.
Well, kind of along those lines, but not really. You're not on an island anymore. But if there was one person, dead or alive, that you could collaborate with, who would that be?
Oh, I'm so glad you get this one first.
I think I'd probably want like a good lyricist, because maybe I could write a melody and somebody with cool lyrics could fill in. I guess. Well, maybe I'll say Elliott Smith, because he may have been sad, but I think he also knew how to party, and it might have been fun and enriching to work with him. And his songs are fantastic to me. Yeah, they have that kind of like melodic X factor that I was talking about too, all of them. And I think he would just be really fun to sit in a room with and kind of play with.
Right. How about you, Sean? Obviously not the guy from the National anymore.
Well, he doesn't actually play. That's nice about him too. He doesn't play anything. He's like a rapper. He just comes in and lays down his ideas over the music. But no, not them. Me and my buddy are always like, why isn't anybody doing what Portishead used to do anymore? Like Portishead isn't even doing what Portishead did back in the 90s anymore. They put out there's another one that put out an album that really let me down. But like I would love to work with them, like, I mean, who else is really doing is behind turntables, like really playing it like an instrument the way that guy Jeff I think his name is. That would be me and my buddy Peck are always talking about like And he's actually doing it well. You guys should check out pecksounds.com to see what he's up to. But that sort of like atmosphere, and Beth was always like, I mean, you know, like singers have like a voice. She used to have like 6 or 7, you know, she sounds like the screaming witch, and then she sounds like, I'm drunk off wine in the tub with this razor and I don't know what to do, sad girl, you know, like she like whatever, again, like, you know, like really responding to the music that she's hearing, where she was just that girl in the tub on that most recent album, which isn't even recent anymore, but but yeah, no, I would love to, the first thing that came to mind was like rap, and we were just talking about Jay Dilla, like that would be amazing to sit down with, you know, somebody who makes beats. I really like Gun Money is like that, or used to be. I worked with this guy, and he would just hand me a beat, and I'd come up with something over it and write to it, and like just like kind of like let the beat take me somewhere. And so when you're building from the ground up, you wind up really steering the ship. But it's cooler when, I could extend this metaphor. I'm not going to put the thought into it. But you know, how about like instead of building the ship and then steering it, somebody else builds the ship for you, and then you get to steer it.
You just show up and crew it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'll go with Portishead. I would love to actually, smack them, put them in their place, and you know, be like, guys, you need to keep doing what you were doing, and you know, I'd love to sing with her. It'd just be cool to like kind of put something like that together.
Right.
Yeah, Portishead.
Very good, Portishead. So we're gonna take a little bit of a break here. We're gonna play the video from yesterday's Jam Day at the Gonzoplex.
Gonzo.
This is raw
Gonzo
footage. This is just right off the phone. This is for an edit that's coming out next weekend. So I apologize, but I wasn't shooting this as one continuous piece. Anyway, I'll shut the fuck up. Here it is, Gonzo Jam Day. I don't even know who's on. So anyway, we're back here. We got Shoney about to sing us a song here once I can get it over on the right cameras and all this stuff. So Sean, you want to go ahead and introduce what you about to sing?
Yeah. This one's for you, Mick.
Oh.
I hadn't even thought about this song in a little while, but Mick was like, how have I never heard this before? So it's kind of an older song I used to do with a band I used to be in called The Equal Rights. It's just called You Made Me Creepy.
Cool.
Finish my beer in the shower. I'm functional. I got a bunch of balls. I know there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with you too, baby. See, I'm friends with your crowd, so I just ask around. Is that weird? I feel weird. Then I think about you, scheming to cheat me. You made me creepy. I like most the books, I hate most the bands. I hate your mattress, I love that lurid last kiss. But the adjusting, it just disgusts me. I'm not in love, but I wanna get tied up. Is that weird? I feel weird. Then I think about you, scheming to cheat me. You made me creepy. Oh, 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 oh. My advice for Pisces is to tread lightly and don't try biking. It's much too frightening, and you need your bravery. You need to behave, but I love it when you're being awful. Is that weird? I feel weird. Then I think about you, scheming to cheat me. You made me creepy. Oh, 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 oh.
All right.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, Shoney. I'm gonna take a couple minutes here, or a couple seconds here, and Nate will get set up, and we'll come right back to listen to his song.
All right, this is a brand new song. It's called "The Breach," and I haven't recorded it yet, so it's a fun thing to play live and kind of hash out a little bit. And I got a mouth organ. My brand new brother script with me atop the rotting hillside, where all the gas and stinking death that he had to wash away. Once more into the breach we leapt into that violent pile, and I knew less of me would live to see another day. Now I say, and as you're laying right beside me, everything is broken and we're strangers in a house. We have so much to say, but know that we will never say it. Everything is broken when it circles back to me. while the explosive bursts were ripping through the air at daylight. My brand new family would scream across the breach above. But more than deafening at home was heavy, stoic silence between the stranger who I'd grown up with and always loved. Now home, I said, and as you're laying right beside me, everything is broken and we're strangers in a house. We have so much to say, but know that we will never say it. I love you so much, stranger, when you say goodnight to me. Now home, I said, and as you're laying right beside me, everything is broken and we're strangers in a house. We have so much to say, but know that we will never say it. I love you so much, stranger, when you say goodnight to me.
Nice.
Sound right?
Yeah, it sounded good. It sounded good. All right, back to this warm-up string. We're going to hit the cameras reset, and we'll be right back with you. Thanks.
Everybody's an engineer these days anyway. And so, like, you wind up playing it for somebody, and, like, you just know they're sitting there thinking, like, why is the vocal so loud? Or, you know, like, whatever it is. Like, all I hear is hi-hat, you know, or whatever. You know, everybody's a fucking critic.
Yeah, I gotta be like working on being more open, I think, to other people's input, just because it's easy to get like what you think is a great song and then you're just like super precious about it to the extent that you kind of like maybe stifle it a little bit.
You mean, like, in the recording of it, you mean? Or
Yeah, I feel like yeah, like you just like, you know, you have your sense of what you think it's supposed to be and you want to just adhere to that. So the idea of somebody else coming in and like making a change that could potentially be significant is just like
that's why you got to find the person that you trust, you know, because if somebody wants you to sound like fucking Pink, you know, or, you know, like NSYNC, and here I am dating myself again. But you know, like somebody who,
Pink just put an album out this past
Yeah.
yeah, but nobody knows. You know, like I'm talking about when we used to know who Pink was.
Yeah.
But
I usually tell people like it's not supposed to sound like an American Idol artist because sometimes if it's somebody at work that was like, yeah, I checked out your stuff, and it's like clear that it wasn't what they were kind of expecting.
Yeah. People have this clearly defined boundaries for some of the music they listen to. Yeah. Anyway, we're back.
are we?
Yeah. Hey, I'm not going to interrupt the conversation. That's what we're here for. So anyway, we come to the plugs portion of the evening or afternoon or whatever it is. So Shoney, what you got coming up?
The Lady Comes First will be playing. In May for sure. What did I say earlier? April. Remember. I think in April and in May we have some shows coming up. And once they're confirmed, that those will be announced online. Nick brought up I've got my new National Covers album on that same website. I was going to use this to promote. I just put out a new solo track called Vodka Sandwiches. Mm-hmm. I was talking with Mick a little bit before we started recording about this, and it's going to be available for it's pay what you want. It's going to stay pay what you want, but it's going to be $1 after a week. So I'm going to have it up for a week for free / pay what you want, and the way I'm going to do it is whoever pays the most for this one track, I'm going to put together some sort of care package with like some original artwork and whatever I can find to throw into a big envelope and mail you something special. Bandcamp takes a slice off of whatever I make, and I don't want to charge more than $1 really. But for a week, it's free if you want it, if you like it, if you're going to show it to somebody and you don't have any dough, just take it. But if you got dough and you want to support artists or an artist named Shoney, You can also donate more, and you can always do that. But yeah, for a week, it'll be free. It's called Vodka Sandwiches. It's on shoneylamar.bandcamp.com. I just made it public. And go get it. Check it out. It's kind of a bummer of a song. And my friend Chris Fullerton, who's somebody that you guys should check out. He makes country music you don't have to be ashamed to listen to. And I saw you posted a Merle.
Yeah, Pistol
song.
Hill. That's a dude out of Gastonia, man. That guy's authentic country, the way it should be.
Right. So Chris Fullerton's like that too. He's a good friend of mine. We met up in Boston. He's from South Jersey, I think. And but I recorded it live in the kitchen, and then he took it and reamped it and threw some noise on it and like a snare, and kind of made it and mastered it and made it sound as good as it does now. So yeah, go check it out.
Cool.
Vodka Sandwiches. Get it for free, or give me some money and I'll give you some stuff.
Right. Once we get everything, this video come down and then get re-uploaded, there'll be links to all these things in the show notes, so you can check that out. What about Nate? What you got going on?
So you can get all the Whiskey Predicament records online for free if you Google Whiskey Predicament. You go to the Bandcamp page, and there's 4 albums you can get for free. And the most recent couple I have on Spotify and Google Play and Apple and whatnot too, so you can stream those if you want to. And as far as shows, I have a show at the Keg and the Q on April 14th, and I'm also working on putting together a milestone folk bill with hopefully Kyle Perkins, Feli Castello, and Tommy Trull are going to be the other artists. They're all Charlotte folk artists that are just crazy songwriters and just have really good tunes and voices and styles. So I think that'll be cool.
That'd be awesome. Cool. All right, a couple more plugs here. Wednesday at Tommy's Pub, you can catch Junko Partner. If you're not familiar with Junko Partner, he is a bluesman, and the dude's like an encyclopedia of blues, so you should definitely go check that out. Let's see, that starts at 7. Wednesday at Tommy's Pub at 7 p.m., Junko Partner. Also on Wednesday, if you're up in the Salisbury area or just looking for something different, you can check out last week's guest, the Salisbury Old Time Radio people will be doing their performance up there at Morgan Ridge Rail Walk Brewery and Eatery. That's a mouthful. Morgan Ridge Rail Walk Brewery and Eatery. That starts at 7, but you can also catch the live stream on Facebook if you're not able to make it up there. So check out the link. It should be up here. Actually, I'm supposed to schedule it. I need to do that still. The link will be up later today. And Thursday, actually, no, let's fast forward. Friday, March 10th, the boys from Gonzo will be at it again, out at Jack Beagle's. I don't need to tell you to go, because you should just already be going. That starts at 8:30, and it'll go until they make them stop. All right, thanks, Shoney and Nate, for swinging by.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir.
For sure. Oh, next week, we got Music Man, Festival Goer, Tie-Dye Artist Extraordinaire, Corn Dog, Chuck Bryan will be in the house. Until then, be good to each other, and peace. I wish I had a cool button to hit where it would just, explode and be over.
I know a guy.